In this video, we're going to create the random numerical background in this file using a text layer, then the animator, and character offset. I'll begin by going to my text tool in After Effects, Command T, or clicking on the T at the top of the user interface where the toolbar is, and I'm going to click inside my document window, and I'll just put in the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. I'll hit Enter. I'll click back on my Move tool, and with V, I'll move it onto the screen. I'm going to go down to the timeline, scrolling open the numerical layer now. I'll see the word text, and directly to the right, animate. I'll click on animate and choose character offset. You'll see that an animator 1 appears in your timeline. I'm going to open up range selector. And if I were just to go down to the very bottom where it says character offset, I can click and drag through, and you can see I've got that very simple way of creating this. So I'll set it for 0. Put my first keyframe in, and then I'll determine how long a piece I want for this. Now, I'm going to need to populate the whole screen, so I'm going to make a very short version of this. I'll make it 5 seconds long, and then I'm going to set the keyframe at the 5-second mark, just dragging on the 0 now in character offset, and just adding an indiscriminate number of whatever choice you might have. I'm going to zoom in on this to see what the speed of this is now. And I've defined the in and out point using the work area bar. I'll tap the space bar, and now I can see that I'm getting these random numbers. Now, if we were to populate our whole document for any length of time, and then as many copies of this layer as I need to populate the screen, it might be prohibitive for our computer. So I'm going to stop this. I'm going to place it in the middle of my comp window because I'm going to generate a .mov with an alpha channel. I'm going to hit Command K on the keyboard, and I'm going to change the height and the width of my comp window. So I'll start to drag to reduce it on the width. I'll click OK, and I'll just center that a little bit better. I'm going to go down to the bottom of the comp window, and you'll see a small checkerboard pattern just to the left of active camera. Clicking on it will give me a transparency. Now this is important because if I were to go into my settings to export this, even though I will choose RGB alpha in a moment, if the background default black is on, it will generate a black background. So now that I've got my file set to export, I'll go to Composition, and I'll go to Add to Render Queue. I'll click on Output To on the blue text. I'll direct the file where I'd like to keep it. Then I'm going to click on the blue word Lossless to the right of Output Modules. And I'm going to choose under Channels, RGB Alpha. I'll turn off the audio to keep the file smaller. Click OK. And click on Render. And now we have one iteration of our movie. Now I'm going to import the Numbers movie I created. With the project tab selected, I'll hit Command I, and I'll locate my file. Next, I'm going to drag it either to my timeline or into my comp window. Now you'll see that it is only a 5-second duration, but maybe I would like this composition to be 30 seconds, 40 seconds, a minute long. In order to stretch this out for the duration of my movie, in the Project tab, I'll select the movie, right-click, choose Interpret Footage, Main. At the bottom of the window, you'll see the option to loop. I'll click, and at this point, you would decide how many iterations you need of that. You'll notice that there is a skin that has been produced. You'll have to click and drag it out to get the full length that you want. Now all we would need to do is populate the screen with as many copies of this as you might feel you need. Now, I'm going to stagger them, so I'll start to hit Command D to duplicate, and I'll start to drag these holding the Shift key, Command D, and I'm going to populate my whole screen with this, and then we'll return. Now that I've got the screen filled with these videos, I'm going to go in and I'm going to reverse some of them so that all the numbers aren't kind of running in the same direction. So I might go every other one and select it in the timeline, right click and choose time, and I'll choose time reverse layer. I'm going to do that to a number of them, and then once I've done that, I'll come back and we'll put a vignette around it to finish the background element. Now that I've got the reverse on the selected layers that I've chosen, I'm going to add a new layer at the top of the composition. So I'll select the topmost video file in my timeline, and I'll go to Layer, New, Solid, and I've chosen a color. I'll click OK, and I'm going to stretch it out for the length of my composition by clicking and holding the Shift key, and I'm going to go up to Effects, Stylize, and I'm going to choose CC Vignette. Now before I start to play with the effects channel itself, I'm going to find the blend mode that I'd like to use. I'll hold down the Shift key and hit plus on the keyboard, and I'm going to use hard light. I'll hit Command S to save. Now if I wanted to, I could go up and I could play with the actual effects in the effects window, changing the amount of the vignette and the angle. And this is something you would do very subjectively. And that's pretty much how you would get this effect as a background element.